Court is now in session.
He honored their summons by his presence in court. President Uhuru Kenyatta chose to waive his right to speak, preferring his lawyers to handle the verbal part of the proceeding. And from the onset, it was clear what they wanted from it: a termination of the case.
There is no evidence. I say deliberately there is no evidence, because if there was evidence, we would have a trial.
Today's proceeding was to assess compliance with the request from the Office of the Prosecutor. The prosecutor alleges that the government is frustrating efforts to gather evidence that will be used to determine if Uhuru's case proceeds or is terminated. As a result, they are making a demand.
The request for the adjournment is the substantive decision which we ask the Chamber to make. We submit that it is justified. We submit that it would be wholly inappropriate for a case to be withdrawn where there has been obstruction of the proper inquiries which the justice of the case required to be made.
I have drawn a line in the sand. I do not have to provide any further evidence. We, in many respects, have not had trust in the court.
The argument was that Uhuru, being the head of state through his actions or omission, is responsible for the non-forthcoming evidence. Probably in disapproval, his lawyers could hear nothing of it, maintaining the same position as they have before.
The reason why further accounts are required, and I haven't supplied them of my own volition, is that so-called comparative purposes are needed to assess the evidence that was supplied.
So why does the prosecution want an indefinite adjournment?
My argument is that the accused controls an entity. That entity is unlawfully withholding evidence which your honours have directed to be provided.
Such adjournment without a fixed date for hearing or beginning of the trial will mean President Kenyatta remains a suspect whose trial is pending at the International Criminal Court. It will also mean his right as an accused person of being afforded a speedy trial is violated. That, to the prosecution, depends on availability of evidence.
It's not a time issue involved, that the evidence is in Kenya. It can be turned over very quickly. The accused has a constitutional obligation to ensure that Kenya complies with its international obligations.
The judges will make known their decision whether to terminate or adjourn indefinitely the trial of Uhuru Kenyatta within the next 2 weeks. Ken Mijungu, NTV.